Love, a topic that every one of us has experienced at least once, but have you truly understood it? Why do some relationships last, while others fall apart so easily? In today's digital era, texting has become an essential part of romantic relationships. Those seemingly simple messages actually contain countless psychological signals about a man's emotions and level of interest in you. Do you know how to decode these subtle signs to understand what he really thinks and feels? Don't let precious opportunities slip away just because you miss important signals in the way he texts. Discover the best ways to read a man's psychology through texting and gain more confidence in your relationship. Welcome to Sophia's Knowledge, and my name is Sophia. This is where you'll find valuable lessons and secrets to building a truly lasting love. In today's video, Sophia will guide you through 7 ways to read a man's mind through texting, with real-life stories and deep insights. Don't miss the advice that could change the way you perceive and experience love. You will feel more comfortable if you find a quiet place and put on your headphones. Allow yourself to relax and be ready to receive positive messages in today's video. Are you ready to embark on this journey with Sophia? Let's begin together. Way 1. Texting frequency. The secret to reading a man's mind through every message. In today's world, texting has become the most common form of communication, especially in romantic relationships. From short messages to long conversations, each text reveals something about the psychology of the man you're getting to know. One of the most important factors in reading a man's feelings through texting is frequency. What does texting frequency reveal? The frequency of a man's texts can reveal a lot about his level of interest and emotional investment. This isn't just about the number of messages but also the time between responses. Whether he texts regularly, initiates conversations, or makes you wait for hours, all of these hold certain meanings. If a man texts consistently and proactively reaches out, it shows he has a special interest in you. For him, frequent communication is a way to maintain connection and build intimacy. He wants you to feel his presence in your life, even in the smallest moments. On the other hand, if you are always the one initiating conversations while he responds indifferently or doesn't reply at all, he may not be fully invested in the relationship. Men generally don't hesitate to show their interest if they truly like someone. Slow responses or making you wait too long could be signs of a lack of enthusiasm or distractions elsewhere. Signs that he is genuinely interested. If his texting frequency is stable, not too frequent but also not too sparse, it indicates that he is balancing his interest while ensuring you don't feel pressured. If, during conversations, he eagerly asks about you, shares about himself, and maintains an emotional connection, it's a good sign. Sometimes, men express their feelings not just through words but through how they prioritize texting. Even when they're busy with work, if they still make time to send messages or inform you when they can't talk, it shows that you hold an important place in their thoughts. When texting frequency suddenly decreases. One of the biggest red flags is when a man's texting frequency suddenly drops without any clear reason. This could indicate that the relationship is encountering issues or that he is losing interest. In many cases, men tend to reduce texting frequency when they feel the relationship isn't as exciting as before or when they are exploring other options. While this isn't always the case, if the change happens without any explanation, it's important to be cautious and reassess the situation. How to respond when texting frequency decreases. If you notice a decline in his texting frequency, don't rush to question or blame him. Instead, stay calm and observe whether external factors, such as work stress or personal issues, are affecting him. Sometimes, men simply get busy, which leads to less communication. However, if the silence lasts without a clear reason, you have the right to question the relationship. Be honest but gentle in expressing your feelings so both of you have the opportunity to clarify things. Don't cling to or pressure him to text more. This will only make him feel overwhelmed and more distant. Texting frequency, don't be overly dependent. A common mistake many people make is placing too much importance on a man's texting frequency. Real interest is not just measured by the number of messages but by the quality and depth of your conversations. Remember, everyone expresses their emotions differently. Some prefer constant texting, while others prioritize face-to-face interactions over phone screens. The most important thing is to feel his sincerity through his actions, rather than solely relying on his texting habits to evaluate his feelings. In the end, texting frequency is just one factor in understanding a man's psychology. It is not the only measure. Don't let yourself become obsessed with checking messages or overthinking when he doesn't reply immediately. Listen to both your heart and logic, and consider how he treats you in real life to get the most accurate and objective view of your relationship. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions and discuss this further. Don't forget to hit like if you found this content helpful and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss future insights. Thank you so much, and let's continue together. Way 2. Message length. The hidden secrets within every text. In the digital age, texting has become an indispensable part of romantic relationships. Every message not only carries meaning in words but also reflects the sender's psychology and emotions. One of the key factors in reading a man's mind through texting is the length of his messages. Message length is not just about the number of words or sentences, it holds deeper insights into his level of interest and emotional investment. What does message length reveal? When a man is genuinely interested and cares about you, he tends to take the time to write longer, more detailed messages. These well-thought-out texts are not just descriptions or simple sharing, they reflect his desire for a deeper connection with you. This shows that he is willing to invest his emotions and time to express his thoughts clearly. On the other hand, if his messages are often short, abrupt, or seem indifferent, this may be a sign of disinterest or lack of emotional investment. Especially when you share a long story and only receive a brief reply like "yeah, okay," or "I see," it's clear that he is not very engaged in understanding you. However, short messages don't always carry a negative meaning. Some men are naturally not very talkative or aren't used to expressing emotions through text. For such individuals, writing long messages is rare, but when the opportunity arises, they are willing to express their feelings sincerely. That's why it's important to observe both the context and the person's personality before making any conclusions. When does message length become a concern? Some people have a habit of sending lengthy messages that are overly wordy and lack focus. This can sometimes be exhausting or make it difficult to understand their intentions. Conversely, some people consistently keep their messages short and concise, yet their words hold deep meaning. The key is that message length should go hand in hand with quality and sincerity. A long message that feels empty or lacks emotion isn't as valuable as a short but meaningful text filled with genuine concern. If he only uses short sentences to end conversations without any effort to continue or expand on topics, he may be trying to create distance. Reading his psychology through message length. When a man truly cares about you, he won't hesitate to write more to explain his feelings or share personal stories. Sometimes, he may even tell you small details about his day as a way to help you understand his life better. If his messages are detailed, expressive, and include personal experiences, it indicates that he wants to build an emotional connection. This is completely different from short, unenthusiastic messages that seem like obligatory responses. On the other hand, if he consistently replies with brief answers, shows no curiosity, or fails to engage with your emotions, it is a sign of low investment. A man who genuinely likes you will make sure you don't feel lonely, even in a conversation through text. How to respond when receiving short messages. If you notice that he frequently replies with short, uninterested texts, try changing your communication approach. Ask more specific questions or subtly guide the conversation to see how he reacts. If he responds with enthusiasm and starts writing more, it could mean he simply wasn't used to your communication style. However, if he remains consistently short and unresponsive, consider whether your expectations are too high. Sometimes, a busy man or someone who isn't good at texting can come across this way. The most important thing is to find a balance between your expectations and the reality of his personality. Message length isn't everything. Remember, message length is not the ultimate factor in determining a man's feelings. Sometimes, a short but sincere and deep message holds more value than hundreds of overly long, meaningless texts. It's essential to look at the relationship as a whole and not judge his level of interest solely based on message length. Focus on how he treats you in real life, his small acts of care, and his affectionate gestures. Texting is just one form of communication, it doesn't represent the full picture of his feelings. Ultimately, message length is one of many factors in understanding a man's psychology, but it is not the deciding factor. Don't overanalyze every message, take a broader perspective on your relationship. Let both your heart and logic guide you, and you'll gain deeper insight into your partner and your relationship. If you're still watching the video, don't hesitate to comment continue. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section, I'd love to hear your opinions. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to support Sophia in creating more meaningful videos. Let's continue together. Way 3. The use of emojis. Decoding a man's psychology through tiny symbols. In the digital age, emojis have become an indispensable part of online conversations. With just a small, colorful symbol, users can quickly convey emotions, attitudes, and moods. However, behind those cheerful, humorous, or even indifferent icons lies a whole picture of the sender's psychology and emotions. For men, the way they use emojis in messages can reveal more than you might think. While not everyone is comfortable using emojis, by paying close attention, you can fully interpret their mood and level of interest through these seemingly simple symbols. What do emojis reveal? Emojis not only make words more lively but also reflect how a man wants to express himself. A man who frequently uses emojis in conversations tends to be open, expressive, and unafraid to show his emotions. They use emojis to enhance friendliness, create a sense of closeness, and make conversations more enjoyable. On the other hand, if he rarely or never uses emojis, he may be the serious, reserved type or someone who isn't used to expressing emotions through text. This doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't care about you, he might just prefer clear and concise communication. A man who uses emojis thoughtfully is often skilled at understanding others. He knows how to use emojis to create humor, ease tension, or show support and encouragement at the right moments. This is a sign of someone who is considerate and attuned to the emotions of those around him. Using emojis for flirting or joking. If he frequently uses fun, playful emojis, or symbols that suggest intimacy, he may be trying to impress or flirt with you. Emojis like smiley faces, hearts, kisses, or mischievous eyes are often used to create a cheerful and affectionate atmosphere in conversations. This becomes especially evident if he deliberately and repeatedly uses emojis in messages with you. It may be his subtle way of expressing that he feels comfortable and wants to capture your attention. Conversely, if he only uses basic, simple emojis with little humor, he might be trying to maintain some distance or simply keeping things polite rather than overly familiar. This doesn't mean he isn't interested, it could just mean he prefers to keep the relationship at a respectful level. When emojis become scarce or disappear. A sudden change in emoji usage can also be a sign of a shift in mood or emotions. If he used to frequently use emojis but suddenly reduces or stops altogether, he might be feeling stressed, upset, or dealing with personal issues. However, you shouldn't rush to conclusions based solely on the appearance or disappearance of emojis. Sometimes, men simply change their texting habits or feel that using emojis frequently is no longer necessary. The key is to observe this in combination with other texting habits, such as message frequency, length, and conversation topics to get a more comprehensive understanding. When he overuses emojis. While emojis can make conversations fun and engaging, excessive use of them can sometimes create an impression of being unserious or insincere. Men who overuse emojis in a single message may be trying too hard to be funny or reduce tension, but it could also indicate a lack of confidence or an attempt to impress too much. On the other hand, a man who uses emojis appropriately and in moderation comes across as more refined and charming. This suggests that he has good emotional control and knows how to adjust his communication effectively. Understanding him through emoji usage. To read a man's psychology through his use of emojis, pay attention to the consistency in how he uses them. If he consistently uses emojis to create a relaxed, humorous, or encouraging atmosphere, it's a sign that he is thoughtful and caring. If he frequently uses romantic or intimate emojis, it could indicate that he has special feelings for you. Conversely, the complete absence of emojis or only using basic symbols might suggest hesitation or a desire to maintain some distance. Ultimately, emojis may be small, but they have a powerful way of conveying emotions and attitudes clearly. Understanding how a man uses emojis can help you read his psychology in a more subtle and accurate way. However, don't rush to judge based solely on emojis. Combine this observation with other texting behaviors to gain a more complete view of your relationship. Way 4. Fast or slow responses. The secret behind a man's texting speed. In today's technological era, texting is an indispensable part of romantic relationships. Through short but emotionally rich messages, we can easily connect with those we care about anytime, anywhere. However, an interesting fact is that the speed at which a man responds to messages reveals more than you think about his attitude and feelings. The way a man responds, quickly or slowly, can reflect his level of interest, priorities, and sometimes even his emotions towards you. Understanding the true meaning behind this speed can help you better interpret his psychology and avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. When he responds quickly. A quick response is often seen as a positive sign in the early stages of a relationship. It indicates that he is excited to talk to you and is willing to take the time to maintain the connection. Especially if he replies immediately or within a short time after receiving your message, it is a clear sign of his interest and the priority he gives you. For busy men, a quick response also shows that you are truly important to them. No matter how stressful their work is, they still make an effort to reply to you. They don't want you to wait or feel uncertain about their feelings. This enthusiasm is most evident in the initial phase of a relationship when both are eager to learn more about each other. However, if a man responds too quickly at all times without considering his surroundings, it can sometimes feel unnatural. He may be trying to impress you or make you think he cares deeply when, in reality, his emotions might not be that profound. When he responds slowly. A slow response can make many people feel confused or anxious. Especially when you are eagerly waiting for a message from someone you like, having him leave you waiting for hours or even a whole day can be disappointing. However, a slow response is not always a bad sign. There are many reasons why a man might respond late, and not all of them are related to his feelings for you. Men often focus on work or personal activities rather than constantly checking their phones. If he is busy with work, studies, or personal matters, a delayed response is entirely reasonable. Additionally, some men have a different communication style. They don't like texting continuously or engaging in lengthy conversations through messages. Instead, they prefer face-to-face conversations to express their emotions more genuinely. When slow responses become a concern. Although a slow response is not always a negative sign, if it happens frequently and without a valid reason, you should take it into consideration. If a man continuously makes you wait and doesn't bother explaining why, it could mean that he is not genuinely interested or does not prioritize you in his life. If he only replies when he has free time, never initiates a conversation, or always uses the excuse of being busy, you should reevaluate his feelings for you. Sometimes, dragging out response times is just a way to create distance or avoid appearing too eager about the relationship. Another concerning sign is when he responds slowly to you but is actively and enthusiastically texting others. This could indicate that you are not at the top of his priority list. How to react when he responds slowly. If you feel uncomfortable with his slow responses, don't rush to blame or show frustration. Instead, observe whether this is a consistent communication habit of his. If he always responds slowly to everyone, not just you, it may simply be his personal texting style. On the other hand, if the delays only happen with you while he is enthusiastic with others, you should reassess the relationship. Don't fool yourself into thinking it's just a coincidence. Sometimes, the truth is quite clear. Instead of trying to control or pressure him, maintain your composure and focus on your own life. Men are often attracted to confidence and independence. Becoming too reliant on his response time might make you lose your natural charm. Ultimately, a man's texting speed does reveal a lot about his attitude and feelings toward you. However, don't let it be the sole measure of your relationship. You need to take a broader, more rational perspective and combine it with other signs to make the right judgment. Remember, a man who truly cares will always make an effort to stay connected with you, no matter how busy his schedule is. If he genuinely values and cherishes you, he will find a way to ensure you never feel like you are waiting in vain. Way 5. How to start and end a conversation. The key to reading a man's psychology through texting. In the modern world, texting has become a common means of connection between couples. What may seem like simple messages can actually carry many hidden messages. If you observe carefully, the way a man starts and ends a conversation will reveal a lot about his emotions and level of interest in you. This is an important factor that helps you read his psychology without having to ask directly. What does the way he starts a conversation say? The way a man initiates a conversation often clearly reflects his level of enthusiasm and feelings for you. When a man actively texts first, asks questions, or opens up a topic, it shows that he wants to connect with you. This action not only demonstrates interest but also indicates that he values you and wants to learn more about your life. Some men like to start with specific questions such as, "Did you have a good day? What are you doing? Do you have any plans for the weekend?" Such personal and thoughtful questions are clear signs of special attention. Men do not pay meticulous attention to small details unless they are genuinely interested. On the other hand, if he only starts conversations with generic, superficial, or formal greetings like hi or hello without making an effort to keep the conversation going, he may just be maintaining a casual or polite relationship. A man who truly cares will often be the one to start the conversation first. However, you should also pay attention to balance. If you always have to initiate and he only responds passively, that could be a sign of indifference or a lack of enthusiasm. Common ways men start conversations and their meanings. Direct and enthusiastic opening. If he frequently begins with specific questions or warm greetings, it's a sign he is trying to close the gap and wants the relationship to progress further. Example: "I just watched a great movie, and I think you would love it." This type of opening creates warmth, engagement, and sparks curiosity. Humorous or teasing opening. If he has a good sense of humor and often starts conversations with jokes or playful teasing, this is his way of showing intimacy and wanting to create a comfortable atmosphere. Example: "Has anyone told you today that you're too cute to be working?" Short, cold opening. If he only sends short, unenthusiastic messages without effort to extend the conversation, it's likely that he is not very interested or wants to keep the relationship at a surface level. How the way he ends a conversation reflects his emotions. The way a man ends a conversation also says a lot. A man who cares about you will never abruptly or rudely end a conversation. He will always try to make sure you don't feel disappointed or uncomfortable when the conversation has to stop. If he ends the conversation with a promise or opens up another conversation for later, it shows that he wants to maintain the connection and always thinks about you. Examples include, "I'll text you again tomorrow." "Good night, see you tomorrow." Such thoughtful and lingering goodbyes indicate that he wants to stay in touch and is looking forward to the next conversation. This is a positive sign of genuine care and affection. On the other hand, if he ends the conversation coldly or without an effort to maintain contact, such as just saying bye or okay, it may indicate that he is not really invested in your emotions. When he actively ends the conversation, a man who does not want to continue talking will often try to end the conversation quickly and politely, sometimes even abruptly. For example, "I'm busy, talk later." "Got something to do, see you later." If he frequently makes excuses to leave or rarely initiates conversations again, there's a high chance that he is not prioritizing this relationship. However, you should also understand that sometimes men are genuinely busy or distracted by work and personal life. Ending a conversation early a few times is not a big issue as long as he still maintains initiative and interest in other conversations. Ultimately, the way a man starts and ends a conversation reflects a lot about his attitude and feelings for you. Men are usually not complicated in expressing emotions through texting, so with just a little attention, you can easily read his psychology. Remember, what matters is not just one or two individual conversations but the consistency in how he interacts with you. If he frequently initiates conversations, is enthusiastic, and shows warmth when ending them, that is a sign he truly cares about you. On the other hand, prolonged indifference or consistently cold endings may signal that you should reconsider the relationship. Finally, always stay observant but don't overanalyze. Genuine feelings are always expressed through sincere and consistent care. There's no need to search for complicated signs or hidden meanings. Way 6. Conversation topics. Reading a man's psychology through what he talks about. In a relationship, the topics of conversation between two people play a crucial role in maintaining connection and building intimacy. An engaging, relevant, and deep conversation not only helps both understand each other better but also reveals a lot about a man's emotions and attitude towards you. In reality, by simply paying attention to how he chooses and sustains conversation topics, you can completely read his psychology and level of interest in you. What do conversation topics reveal about a man? The way a man chooses conversation topics reflects his level of interest, sincerity, and emotions towards you. A man who enjoys talking to you about personal matters, hobbies, and his feelings is usually someone who is open, trusting, and wants to build a deep relationship. On the other hand, if he only focuses on shallow topics, lacks depth, or shows no enthusiasm for what you share, there is a high possibility that he does not have serious expectations for the relationship or does not want long-term commitment. Common conversation topics when a man is interested in you. Personal life and private matters. If a man is willing to share about his personal life, memorable experiences, or even his difficulties and thoughts, it means he is opening up to you. Men do not easily reveal their emotions and private life unless they trust and feel a special connection with someone. If he actively asks about your life, from small details like how your day was or if anything fun happened, to bigger things like your family, work, and dreams, this is a clear sign of genuine interest. He wants to understand you more and build a close relationship. Hobbies and personal passions. Talking about hobbies and passions is a great way to connect and find common ground. If he proactively asks about your interests or excitedly shares what he loves, such as sports, music, travel, movies, or books, this is his way of showing a desire to know you better. More importantly, if he remembers your preferences or suggests activities related to them, such as inviting you to watch your favorite movie or join an interesting event, it shows that he truly listens and cares about you. Future plans. If he enjoys talking about the future, not just his personal plans but also those involving you, this is a strong sign that he is serious about the relationship. Questions like, where do you want to live in the future? What's your dream travel destination? I'd love to go on a trip with you during the holidays. These are clear signals that he wants you to be part of his future plans. Deep and emotional topics. If he is comfortable discussing deep topics such as life perspectives, philosophy, love, family, and personal values, this indicates that he wants to build a meaningful relationship. These conversations require trust and emotional connection. Conversely, if he avoids serious topics or only sticks to casual, shallow conversations, he may not be ready or willing to take things further with you. When conversations become boring or superficial, a man who truly cares about you will always try to keep the conversation natural and engaging. On the other hand, if he only talks about the weather, work in a perfunctory way, or brings up trivial matters without emotional depth, this could be a sign of disinterest. A repetitive conversation with dull, monotonous topics that lack emotional connection often suggests that he is not genuinely interested in building a deep relationship. How to maintain and deepen conversation topics. If you want to understand a man better, take the initiative to bring up interesting and emotionally connected topics. Open-ended and thought-provoking questions will make the conversation more natural and engaging. For example, have you ever had a most memorable experience in life? If you could choose one place to live forever, where would it be? What do you think about the importance of family in life? Listen attentively and respond sincerely. This will make him feel more comfortable opening up to you. Ultimately, conversation topics can reveal a lot about a man's level of interest and emotions towards you. A man who truly cares will not hesitate to talk about deep and meaningful things, while someone who is not serious will often stick to short and superficial topics. Understanding how a man selects conversation topics will help you read his psychology more accurately, allowing you to take the right steps in the relationship. Do not hesitate to initiate meaningful discussions and listen sincerely, as deep conversations are the key to strengthening emotional bonds between two people. Let conversations become a bridge for you and him to understand each other better, thereby building a lasting and happy relationship. Way 7. Humor and subtlety in texting. The secret to reading a man's psychology. In today's texting world, the way a man uses humor and subtlety in messages can reveal a lot about his personality and emotions. Humor not only makes conversations more enjoyable but also reflects his ability to connect and the level of comfort he feels when talking to you. Especially when a man knows how to use wit and finesse in his texting style, it's a strong sign that he cares about you more than you might think. Why is humor important in texting? In romantic relationships, humor is considered one of the key factors in maintaining attraction and long-term connection. When a man can make you laugh through just a few short messages, he is not only creating a fun atmosphere but also helping you feel more comfortable and closer to him. Humor in texting helps break the distance between two people, especially in the early stages of a relationship when both are still getting to know each other. A well-timed humorous message can ease tension, create a natural sense of connection, and spark interest in the conversation. Moreover, humor is also a way for a man to showcase his intelligence, finesse, and communication skills. For many women, a man with a good sense of humor is far more attractive than one with just a handsome appearance. How does a humorous man show interest through texting? A man who genuinely cares will not hesitate to use humor when talking to you. He often makes light-hearted jokes and teases you in a playful way to create a fun and engaging atmosphere. For example, if you mention that you've had a long and exhausting day, a caring man might reply, "You must have been fighting off a whole army of fire-breathing dragons, right?" This kind of playful teasing not only brings a smile to your face but also shows that he is paying attention to your emotions and trying to lighten your mood. He wants you to feel more relaxed and forget about the stress in your life. On the other hand, if a man responds dryly, lacks humor, or doesn't show much concern for your feelings, it could be a sign that he is not particularly invested in the relationship. Subtlety in texting, what makes a man attractive? Beyond humor, subtlety in texting is also a sign of a deep and caring man. Subtlety is reflected in how he chooses his words, knowing when to joke and when to be serious. A thoughtful man will always pay attention to your emotions and adjust his texting style accordingly. For example, if you're feeling down, he will find ways to comfort you without making you feel pitied. When you're happy, he will skillfully keep the good mood going with light-hearted jokes. A clear sign of subtlety is when he remembers small details you've mentioned before. For example, if you once said you love a particular movie or dish, he might incorporate it into a conversation as a pleasant surprise. I just saw that your favorite pizza place opened a new branch. When do I get an invite? These little details show that he listens to you sincerely and genuinely cares about your interests. When humor and subtlety become a double-edged sword. However, not every man who uses humor or teasing in texts has good intentions. If his humor is sarcastic, makes you uncomfortable, or belittles you, that's a red flag. Additionally, excessive subtlety or always using flowery, poetic words without genuine sincerity can also be a sign of pretense. A man who truly cares will not use charm to manipulate your emotions. Recognizing a genuinely caring man through humor and subtlety. A man who genuinely cares will always make you feel happy and respected in conversations. His humor and subtlety will always be constructive, making you comfortable and creating a positive connection. He won't hesitate to joke with you but will know when to stop to avoid making you uncomfortable. At the same time, he will actively check in on you, listen attentively, and respond thoughtfully. If he consistently makes you laugh naturally, feel happy, and emotionally connected through texting, this is a good sign of a meaningful and lasting relationship. Ultimately, humor and subtlety in texting not only help maintain attraction in a relationship but also reveal a lot about a man's emotions toward you. When a man knows how to make you smile and feel special through his messages, it is a clear sign of his genuine care and sincerity. Pay attention to how he uses humor and subtlety, and you will easily read his true emotions and psychology. Men can say charming words, but only genuine humor and subtlety truly build long-term connections. Remember, a man who knows how to make you laugh every day through text is someone who loves you with the most sincere heart. Conclusion. Texting is not just a simple communication tool but also a mirror reflecting a man's psychology and emotions in a relationship. Through these 7 ways to read a man's psychology through texting, you can easily recognize his level of interest, seriousness, and feelings toward you. From texting frequency, message length, emoji usage, response speed, how he starts and ends conversations, conversation topics, to humor and subtlety in his words, each aspect carries hidden messages about his true emotions. A sincere man will actively maintain the connection, show his care through small details, and always create a comfortable, joyful atmosphere when talking to you. On the other hand, indifference, coldness, or a lack of enthusiasm often indicate a lack of investment in the relationship. However, all evaluations should be made in context, avoid overanalyzing and instead observe the consistency in his texting style. Understanding a man's psychology through texting not only helps you grasp his emotions but also allows you to build a healthier and deeper relationship. A lasting relationship always stems from understanding, sincerity, and emotional harmony in communication. Stay observant and intuitive, and you will create meaningful conversations and long-lasting connections with the man you care about. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. I hope you found valuable lessons about love and relationships. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. I truly appreciate your support and will continue to bring valuable content in upcoming videos. Stay with me on this journey of exploring love and relationships. See you soon, and I wish you happiness always.